Welcome, everyone. I call to order the May 16th, 2023 meeting of the Los Virgenes-Malibu COG Governing Board. Will the Executive Director please call the roll?
Paul Grisanti.
Here.
Ray Pearl.
Here.
Penny Sylvester.
Here.
Vice President Weintraub.
Here.
President Gold.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Item number 2 is approval of the agenda. Does anyone have any changes to the agenda or questions? If not, then can I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
I'll second.
Thank you, Alicia, and seconded by
Paul.
Paul.
Yeah.
Thank you. Will the Executive Director please call the roll?
Paul Grisanti.
Yes.
Ray Pearl.
Yes.
Penny Sylvester.
Yes.
Vice President Weintraub.
Yes.
President Gold.
Yes. Public comment period. Are there any members of the public who would like to address the governing board at this time? No. Okay, Terry, do we have any public comments that we received electronically?
I have not received any public comments electronically or via telephone. Nothing.
Okay, and since we have no public comments, then we move on to item number 4, consent calendar. On the consent calendar, the items are approved by one motion unless they are removed for a separate discussion or action. Would anyone like to remove an item from the consent calendar?
I just want to clarify something. The letter, that's not on the consent calendar, correct?
No, it's
No.
an action item.
Okay, great. It just wasn't
But
clear.
that's a great question, Penny.
Yes, thank you.
And Eniko, if I could, Penny brought to
Yes.
my attention that I incorrectly listed the governing board's vote in item 2 on the minutes. And so I made those changes to reflect that Jeremy Wolf was there for her, and that let's see, what else did, and I still had Doug Stewart from the previous meeting. So Paul, I got you in there and made those changes.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So would anyone like to remove an item from the consent calendar? Okay, no one. Is there a motion to approve the consent calendar?
Penny Sylvester makes a motion to approve the consent calendar.
Thank you,
Paul
Penny.
Grisanti
that.
second. Alicia seconded.
Or
Thank
Paul,
you.
you can take it.
Now I'm late.
Okay, Alicia, thank you. And thank you, Penny. Will the Executive Director call the roll?
Paul Grisanti.
Yes.
Ray Pearl.
Yes.
Penny Sylvester.
Yes.
Vice President Weintraub.
Yes.
President Gold.
Yes,
Motion carries unanimously.
thank you. Our next item is information items. Since we don't have Sheriff Luna here, and hopefully we'll have him in the future with us, I'd like to ask Terry to give his executive report.
Happy to do that. Yes, so Sheriff Luna did contact us and say that, or his staff did, and say that he wasn't going to be able to participate after all, but they would, as the president said, they would try and schedule for the future. So I'll continue to work on that. I'm pleased to report that I participated in the Calabasas meeting on May 10th, very briefly. I did not participate in the Westlake Village Council meeting, but both councils approved the proposal to allow their respective governing board representative to vote without first seeking city council approval. That brings a total to 4, and I've already reached out to Steve and to Paul to work with Malibu next to see if we can get them on board. So that was very encouraging. The COGS Highway Working Group met last week. to receive a presentation from the Metro audit team, and they gave a lengthy presentation about the audit process that was very boring, but was also very important for the city reps to understand what Metro is looking for when they come in to do a project audit, to make sure that the Measure M and Measure R funding was properly allocated and invoiced. And so it was, while it was boring, it was well received by everyone. So that was good. And we talked about timing for submitting Measure M projects for the 10th year for our project list, which is a little over $13.5 million. I should have the RFP finalized by the end of the month, with responses due in July, and the governing board awarding the contract for that, which I say in my report takes 3 to 4 months, or excuse me, 3 to 6 months. But after having some additional discussions with some people in the industry, it appears that it's more likely 2 to 4 months. So that was also encouraging. I completed the initial grant assessment meeting that included 12 grants from California Consulting in the research that they did, and then subsequently had a meeting yesterday with Dave Peterson and a member of his staff to discuss further clarifying that. So I've reached out to California Consulting to let them know that we would like to have another discussion about more specific stormwater planning grants and management grants and other stormwater studies that the cities would be able to do along with the watershed area from the North Santa Monica Bay, and so we're very encouraged that we can come up with something. I finalized the COGS homeless grant statement of work with LA County, which includes a cost of living for Gabriel, as well as reserving an additional bed at the People Concern for unhoused folks in Malibu. We still have some unallocated funding, so we would be able to reserve a bed if one becomes available on the other side of the hill, for the other cities that are in SPA 2. And then yesterday, the COGS Homeless Working Group met our regular meeting. Gabriel and all of the cities provided updates, along with updates from LASA and LA County. That concludes my report. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Terry. Do we have any questions for Terry? No, I just want to make a comment. Thank you so much, Calabasas and Westlake, and of course, Agoura Hills and Malibu. We look to you. So hopefully you can join us on our quest. Thank you. Thank you again. On to our next item, Public Safety Legislative and Agency Partners Update. I'd like to ask Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department Captain C2. Do you have an update for us? Welcome. Good morning.
Hi, good morning, everybody. Just a few things. I will be reaching out to all the city managers today. The department would like a list of everybody who's going to the contract cities. So I'll be sending you an email if you don't mind responding. That way I can have it to them by this afternoon. I appreciate it. We had an open house, as well as my fire family. We both had open houses on the same day. And it was very well received. I saw a lot of you there. So thank you to Paul and Eniko. It was just so great. And Penny for coming on out and seeing what we have to offer. It was a big hit with the helicopter. The little kids love getting in the helicopter, as well as some of the adults. And then right now we're just going into, preparing for fire season. I know we have a few months, but that's been the conversation Drew and I have been having lately is, really gearing up for our fire season. So that's about all I have on my end. We We did have a homicide. I know I've been hit up a lot about that. That was in Agoura Hills. Right now, I don't have much information. So whenever there's a homicide, the sheriff's department or the station responds, but we basically check for proof of life if there is none, and then our job is to set up a containment, and we can't touch the body. We can't do anything else other than, wait for fire to determine, actually deem him or her deceased. And so once we do that, then we set up the containment and wait for homicide to come in. And it's homicide's handle, and really the station's kind of out of it after that. I did call yesterday for an update. I'm hoping today I'll at least get something, but they're not ruling out suicide. But right now they just listed it as a homicide to kind of continue their investigation. So just kind of want to put that on everybody's radar. Any questions for me? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Captain Cito. I just want to make a comment. Thank you for all your hard work. And I know many of us were at the open house, and it was wonderful to see, all the deputies and everything you do. And it was a lot of fun. My children enjoyed it. So thank you for putting that on. Thank you. And thank you for the fire family too. I know Penny went, right? And so on to our next partner, the Los Angeles County Fire Department. Chief Smith, do you have an update for us?
I do. Well, good morning. And yes, the Fire and Loss Service Day was absolutely wonderful. Had a lot of great shared experiences with folks that were there. They were very thankful and appreciative. And we love opening up and exposing our fire station so the public can see how we live. We live a third of our lives together. And so the dynamics of that community component we really enjoy. As you know, we are out doing our defensible space inspections in the area, and we're having great feedback from the community coming out and talking to your firefighters that are coming out and doing those. So we're having good compliance with that. As Captain C2 was mentioning, we are also highly engaged in our training, which never ends. But as Captain C2 is referring to, we are looking forward into this upcoming fire season. So we're already having those conversations, which we do continually, yet we're going to be having a big exercise, if you will, or annual operating plan with our partners, which is Los Angeles County Fire Department, the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department, LAPD, LA City Fire Department, Mountain Recreation Conservation Authority, National Park Service, Ventura County Sheriff. So this is a big deal that we do every year in preparation for what I'd like to call Big Game Day, when Mother Nature gets angry. One thing that I will throw a plug to Captain C2 on is we're working, or she is especially working hard, and I don't know the exact name, I think we're still in flux with it, is this Intelligence Integration Center. So we're working together with that for real-time situational awareness, and this intelligence center that's going to be multifaceted for the all-risk type of events. So we're making progress on that, and I know that Captain C2 will have a lot of information as we get closer to that. And I just want to let you know that our snake calls are on the rise, so be careful out there when you're navigating your life in the
Captain Drew, we can't hear you.
beautiful hillsides. The volumes for snake calls are going up. And with you can't hear me? Uh-oh. How about now?
I can. Now I can. I'm sorry. Maybe it was just me.
There you go. Yeah, I faded maybe. Who knows? So is there any questions for me?
I would like to ask you, when will we know that the fire inspections are happening in our neighborhood? Do we actually see the fire trucks and things circulating around, or?
We don't set schedules on where we do it because we're still in service to go to 911 calls. So we set our day during working hours, so from 0800 to last light, so dark, to go out and go throughout the community. So it's going to be very transient in nature. So
Right.
something different. So we have it on the calendar that every day we'll be going out doing defensible space inspections, and that'll be on your engine companies, your fire patrols. You might see them on our quick response vehicle, which is a side-by-side as they're called, or a mule that they're called. It's a little ATV. We may have those in the area as well. So during daylight hours, we're out and about in the communities throughout the Santa Monica Mountains.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank you, Chief Smith. Paul?
Drew, I was one of the people who couldn't hear anything after you said it's snake season.
Oh,
So
yeah,
I don't,
so after the snake season, it was, I was talking about working with law, and actually Captain C2 is the lead.
no, I'm sorry. I didn't hear anything about the introduction to about snake season.
Oh, the snake season is on the rise, meaning they're here. We have seen our call volume go up in regard to snake calls. So I'm just giving a awareness campaign to be careful when you're out around your home or out in the wildlands, in the open space areas.
Thank you.
Yeah, you bet.
Thank you so much, Chief Smith. If we
And
don't have
I
any-
also, sorry.
Oh, there's Megan.
A couple things.
There she is.
So as Chief Smith mentioned, Fire Safety Day or Fire Service Day went awesome. It was a great turnout. It was lovely to see some of you out there. And one other thing, registration is now open for the upcoming CERT class, which is going to be held in Agoura Hills, at Agoura Hills City Hall. That's beginning on July 11th, which is a Tuesday. And the classes are going to take place from 6 to 8:30 p.m. For 7 consecutive weeks on Tuesdays. So I'll put the link to the registration in the chat as well. And then Chief Smith and I will also be at Contract Cities Conference this weekend. So hopefully we will see some of you out there. That's all I have.
Thank you.
Thank you, Megan. Thank you. If you have no more questions, then let's move on to League of Cities. Jeff, do you have a report for us or something to report?
Yeah, good morning, everyone. Jeff Kiernan with the League of California Cities. I will also be at Contract Cities out in the desert beginning on Friday. If anyone else is out there and wants to meet with me, just shoot me an email or text me. Wanted to talk a little bit, the governor announced the May revise on Friday. This is the May revise to the state budget. He did acknowledge that the deficit has grown from the 22 billion or so that he anticipated in January to now more than $31 billion. And you have to recall that with the tax collection here in California being delayed due to so many emergencies across the state, that is yet again another proposal, and it doesn't have the benefit of the usual May revise, where they start to begin to get the revenues in from the normal tax deadline. So there is some concern about me personally, because I've seen this happen in the years prior, where those estimates do end up growing, and they may end up having to make mid-year cuts. But we aren't there yet. Let's stick with the 31 billion that we believe that we are in now. But in that announcement on Friday, I put a link to our full analysis, but he did make quite a few reductions to his January proposal. The homelessness dollars are maintained as to what they were in previous years. Of course, Cal Cities, we've been arguing that that funding really has not met the moment. We need to continue to make investments, and specifically, we've asked for reliable $3 billion funding, not this one-time funding each year. Housing dollars, he actually did have to cut by about $712 million. Public safety was actually a small bright point with fentanyl prevention, and he's increased that funding for $141 million over 4 years. Transportation saw another $2.2 billion in cuts. Flood protection, actually, partly due to all of the water and snow we've collected, did go up, thankfully, by nearly $500 million. So the legislature, now that they've got this May revise, They are going into all of the fiscal deadlines. The Senate Appropriations met yesterday. They did put SB 423, the Wiener housing bill, on the suspense file. Essentially, all it does is they get the informational hearing out of the way, and then they stick it in a box and wait until probably Thursday or Friday of this week, when the deadline is Friday, so they can figure out exactly how much money they get to pass out of that Appropriations Committee. So the Friday deadline is going to be big. We'll hear a lot more about which bills will make it and which ones will not. So we'll have much more information on that next week. But I did want to just mention, Cal Cities has our general membership meeting coming up on June the 1st. We're going to be at the USC Hotel that evening from 6 to 8:30, and we have invited Assembly Member Al Meritsucci from the South Bay area, who was the author of AB 1708, the bill that would have amended Proposition 47 and helped work with to prevent recidivism and all these serial thefts. So we're going to have him speak. This is the second year he's carried that bill for us. Made some serious tweaks and changes to it this year, but it still didn't make it past the Public Safety Committee. So we're going to continue to push that. It's been one of the Los Angeles County Division's priorities for at least 5 or 6 years. So it's something we're really working on. Other than that, I put the analysis to the budget link in the chat, but I'm also happy to answer any questions if you have it.
Thank you so much, Jeff.
Thank you. Good morning.
And do we have any questions for Jeff? If there are no more questions, thank you, Jeff. And let's move on to the updates from our agency partners or legislative staff. Are there any other representatives or agency partners who would like to speak?
I'll give a quick update. Nancy Frawley with Assemblymember Jackie Irwin's office. As Jeff said, bills are going through committees, getting shoved into files, never to be seen again, or perhaps become a 2-year bill. All bills have to be out of House of Origin by June 2nd. So we will definitely know what's going where. 2 of our bills that are getting a lot of traction, and I think will definitely be moving on, is our food labeling bill. It will make a huge difference in the methane gas produced in the dumps. It will make a huge difference in how much food waste is going on when people know when to really throw away their food, not just when it will taste best by. We also are working really hard right now on our cannabis candy bill. It's AB 1207. It's to make it illegal for marijuana sellers, any cannabis products, to look like candy or soda, anything that's attractive to kids. So that's moving on. Locally, we just had another sidewalk session in Simi Valley. It went well. And our next one up is in Malibu. We'll be doing it at Alfred's Coffee. And Chief Smith is going to be our special guest at that sidewalk session. So that's about all for now. One other thing, I always say that. One other thing is I appreciate the cities reaching out when they have certain issues, especially with state departments. That's what we're here for. So thank you to Calabasas for reaching out, and Malibu. We're still working on the property tax issue. If anybody has any questions or comments on bills, get them to me this week or the next week, and we'll make sure your voice is heard.
Thank you, Nancy. Do we have any questions? Nope.
For jumping in abruptly and for having my camera off. I'm juggling and I have to jump off in a moment. I'm driving, but I did want to just say a quick hello and to let you know that the supervisor spent a good deal of time in the neighborhoods recently in our area. She was just in Agoura Hills and last week and toured the wildlife crossing, which was phenomenal and a wonderful opportunity. And then she spent after that some time in Hidden Hills. And I believe Chair Gold, you had an opportunity to see her and to speak with her that day. So I just want to extend a really appreciation on her behalf, on behalf of our office, for the warm welcome that you've shown. And she's really enjoying getting to know these communities and working closely together with everyone. So, and the only other update I'll share really quickly is that it's budget season everywhere. It's also budget season at the county, and the county has held some recent budget hearings the end of last week to get community input on what the budget will look like. It's a very large budget, and we are open, we want to hear from our stakeholders and community stakeholders on that. But on that note, I'm gonna wrap up and happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Barry. Do we have any questions for Barry? No questions. I'd just like to make a comment. It was a pleasure and an honor to have Supervisor Horvat in our cities. So thank you so much. And then on to
thank you.
And then I'll give a brief update too from Senator Allen's office. Morning, everyone, and thank you to Jeff and Nancy for giving us a very good picture of where things currently stand in the legislative process. I will just give two brief updates that I want to add to that. One is that I am currently in the process of scheduling out the senator's calendar for the summer recess, which goes from July 14th to August 14th. So if any of your cities have any events going on during that time that you would like the senator to stop by, please let me know, and I will do my very best to get him there. The other update I wanted to share is I know that a lot of your residents might have been a bit confused or expressing concern about whether there are any new defensible space regulations coming down from the state right now as a result of AB 3074, which was passed a few years ago and establishes the new Zone 0, which is 0 to 5 feet immediately around a structure. I met with the Board of Forestry and Fire Prevention last week, and they per the text of the bill, they are tasked with actually promulgating the regulations on what will and won't be allowed in Zone 0. And I got an update on the timeline for implementation. The text of the bill said that new regulations were supposed to be promulgated by January 1st of this year. That timeline has been significantly delayed. The board is currently in the very preliminary stages of drafting those regulations. We don't even have an official draft yet. They expect the draft to come out sometime later this year in the fall, after which it's going through the formal regular rulemaking process. So there will be a public comment period. So if you have residents who have concerns once the draft comes out, there will be ample opportunity for them to weigh in on those draft regulations, and then revisions will be considered based on that public comment. The earliest that the Board of Forestry expects any new regulations to come from the state on the 0 to 5 foot zone is January 1st of 2025 for new construction and January 1st of 2026 for existing construction. So that's just an update on the timeline for that. Of course, folks are welcome to be more proactive if they so choose in anticipating those regulations, but we don't know what they're going to say at this point. So I just do want to emphasize that. Councilmember Sylvester, I know you were concerned about your rose bushes, so don't go cutting those down right now.
Thank you, Davis. Thank you. Any questions for Davis?
Can I add one more thing? I wanted to thank the city of Agoura for the podcast. Jackie did the podcast. It turned out so great. All of them are great. I started looking through the library, and I would advise you all to take a look. It's good information done really well. So thank you, Nathan.
Thank you. Okay, on to our next item, which is the action item A, award contract to update the COG hazard mitigation plan. Terry, will you please give the report? You're muted.
Sorry, I had a barking dog. The RFP was sent out to 5 consulting firms that specialize in hazard mitigation plans. 2 firms responded. The COG's Hazard Mitigation Plan Working Group reviewed the 2 proposals and unanimously agreed that the proposal by MLC and Associates was the most comprehensive, and that it also included updating all of the risk maps, the hazard mitigation risk maps that are part of the plan. And in addition, they were familiar with the COG cities in that they prepared the initial hazard mitigation plan and the 2 subsequent updates. So the recommendation is to award the contract to MLC and Associates for an amount not to exceed $78,000, which is their proposal. And in addition, the allocations that you see in my board agenda report were modified slightly in order to take into consideration the additional hazards that are in Malibu. And so Malibu's was bumped up a little bit, a few $1,000s with the okay from Steve. And in addition, so that'll be modified slightly because also it's for 80,000 and the proposal is for 78. But I expect to have a contract ready for the president to sign and for them to begin work immediately on the hazard mitigation plan in order to get it completed and approved by FEMA and Cal OES prior to the expiration, which is in August of 2024. So the consultant feels that they have adequate time. And just to explain to the governing board how this process works, we hire the consultant, and then the COGS Hazard Mitigation Plan Working Group meets regularly with the consultant to coordinate and provide information. And then the consultant is subsequently following up with all of the cities to work with them independently. And then we will be holding public meetings for members of the public to participate in order to meet the just the good government requirement of public participation. But in addition, Cal OES and FEMA also require that. So I expect that we'll begin that soon, and that I'll continue to update the governing board and the TAC as we move forward. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Terry. Are there any questions for Terry?
I just have one question, Terry. Where will we be holding the public input meetings?
Well,
Will they be in person or just on Zoom?
Well, in the past, obviously before COVID, we did it in person in all 5 cities. So I would look to the governing board if you would like in-person meetings, or if you want to do some Zoom meetings and some in-person meetings, we could do that also in order to get in order to get a good turnout. Last time when we had the public meetings, we would get 10 to 15 people participating at each location, except there were a couple where there were only 3 or 4.
Right. So each city could choose which way they wanted to go with that.
Yeah, we could do that.
Thank you.
I agree with that. Okay, but we have time to decide about that, right?
Yes, we do.
Okay. Wonderful. So are there any questions for Terry, or any more questions? No? Can I get a motion to approve?
Penny Sylvester makes a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Thank you, Penny. Thank you, Alicia. Would the executive director call the roll?
Paul Grisanti,
Yes.
Ray Pearl,
Yes.
Penny Sylvester,
Yes.
Vice President Weintraub,
Yes.
President Gold.
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you. Our final action item for the day is letter of opposition to involuntary rotating deputies to other stations every 5 years. Are there any questions or comments about this letter?
Well, I just have to make a statement. I was not at our city council meeting when they discussed that because I was on vacation, but I watched the meeting and I do know that we haven't yet reached a conclusion. And I think one of the questions is who the letter should be sent to, whether it should go directly to Sheriff Luna and then CC Lindsay Horvath on it or not. So we have not yet made a decision, so I will have to abstain on this. Thank you.
Thank you, Penny. Alicia?
Our council voted unanimously to send a letter from the city of Calabasas, and we're all very supportive that this letter goes out. And I'm happy that the COG would do so as well.
Thank you so much. Paul?
Malibu voted to send a letter as well.
Thank you, Paul. Any other comments? I'd like to make a comment then. Hidden Hills sent a letter too, and we, this letter CCs the Board of Supervisors and Sheriff Luna, but it is addressed to our own Supervisor Horvath. But I think they will all read our letter. So if there are no more questions, is there a motion to approve the letter?
I'll move to approve the letter.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Alicia. Will the Executive Director call the roll?
Paul Grisanti,
Yes.
Ray Pearl,
Yes.
Penny Sylvester,
Abstain?
Vice President Weintraub,
Yes.
President Gold.
Yes.
Motion carries 4-0 with 1 abstention.
Thank you so much. On to our next item, general comments and requests for future agenda items. Are there any comments or requests for future agenda items? No. Then I'd like to take this opportunity to check in with our city managers and ask them if there are any good news, happy news, something that they're proud of to report. No good news. Kinden, tell us something good. What happened?
Good morning, everybody. Just a couple things from Calabasas. In April, we had our Earth Day celebration, very well attended. And I know Barry's not on the Zoom still, but we're grateful that the supervisor was able to stop by and spend some time with our council members there. Thursday and Friday of this week, we are doing some Emergency Operations Center training. I know representatives from many of your cities will be joining in on that. And so we're glad that we're able to collaborate and work as a team on some of that training. And then also, as you may have seen in the Acorn, we've officially started on the remodel and the re-roofing project of the community center. And we're excited to see that move forward. And that's all I have, President Gold.
Thank you, Kinden. I saw James on top of a letter working on the roof. I loved it. Thank you. I think Carrie would like to say something. I saw you unmuted yourself.
I was writing notes. Yeah, good morning, everyone. A couple of things. Thank you, Calabasas, for hosting that training. I know at least one of our staff members, possibly 2, are attending. So the collaboration is always important. And for those of you that were not, everyone was around, but not in office or on staff, the collaboration during the Woolsey fire was amazing. And it only happens because we spend time training together. And so thank you again to Calabasas. Speaking of trainings, we hosted a JPIA training on gender bias last week. All of our staff attended, and 2 staff members from Agoura Hills attended. It was excellent. I highly recommend it. It was really great to have Nate, a couple of your teammates there. It was just nice to get perspective from other cities. And if you have any questions on that, you can reach out to me and I can get you some information. Our long-awaited Measure RM project, the Long Valley entrance, is in the 11:59, about to go out to bid. This has been something we've been working on for about 6 years, getting to this point. So we're very excited to get that project underway. And finally, our fiber project, the engineered design, Terry was speaking about the COG version of this, is about complete, which will then lead to seeking funding and award a contract for construction. So all of those things have really great synergy with our neighboring cities, and we're just really excited to be part of it. So that's all I have.
Thank you, Karen. Steve? I'm sorry.
Good
Rob,
morning,
whoever.
everybody. This is Rob, Westlake Village. Good to see you all. On the good news front, we've got coffee with the deputy this afternoon, actually, at the Stonehouse. So anyone that wants to come by and speak with some deputies, please join us 4 to 6 this afternoon. Also, on the good news front, we've been working hard on our next fiscal year budget, and we're happy to report that that's gone very well. We're looking at a pretty good surplus, so it's going to allow us to invest in some high priorities around public safety and sidewalk design and construction. So excited about that. Other things happening in Westlake Village, and I don't know if this is good news, depending on where you sit on this, but the school district is looking at fencing White Oak Elementary School, and this is something they've done at all of their other 14 schools. But White Oak Elementary School is a unique neighborhood school that is nestled in a neighborhood and within a park setting. So it's been a sort of an open campus for many decades, and so there are folks on both sides of this issue in terms of fencing the elementary school. So Mayor Pearl and I and others are working with the district to sort of walk through that process. The other big news in Westlake is a big housing project, pending proposal. We're anxiously waiting to see that come in. That's going to be in our North Business Park plan. It's a significant housing development. So that's certainly keeping us very busy. And then lastly, Contract Cities, looking forward to being up there for a few days. We've got a couple of council members who will be there as well, and hope to see some of you there. That's all I have to report. Ray, do you have anything else? Oh.
Thank you, Rob. Steve or Nathan, who wants to go first?
I'll go if that's okay. And I just want to echo some of the earlier comments, and really just our positive things are kind of all the collaborative approaches that are going on. I want to thank Kenan for hosting the EOC training. It's been really valuable to our staff. And one of the things we're doing with the Sheriff's Department is reviving our Volunteers on Patrol program. So I know representatives from Westlake Village and Malibu, their team has really been helping us out with that. So very appreciative of that. And then I just want to do a quick shout out to Davis for really looking into the Zone 0 issues for us, and getting all that information really helpful. Really appreciate that. It's something that our committee was really concerned about. So thank you for taking the initiative on that. So with that, I'll turn it Penny or Jeremy if you have anything else to add.
No, but I would like to second thanking Davis for saving my rose bushes for a few more years.
Thank you both. Steve?
Thank you, President Gold, and good morning, everybody. Yeah, in terms of good news, we had a couple of really nice events in the last month here in Malibu at the new Santa Monica College campus. They had a ribbon cutting about a month ago, which was a really well-attended event. We had the sheriff there and Supervisor Horvath and representatives from the state offices as well. And then we also had a Malibu State of the City hosted with the Chamber of Commerce. So a couple of really nice events there at the college. So it's nice to have that up and running and operating. Also, I want to thank Assembly Member Irwin and her staff for their efforts to spearhead AB 1500 to continue the property tax exemption for home damage or destroyed in the Woolsey fire. So that's so far moving along very well. And then, of course, with Malibu, we're busily getting ready for the summer season, where we expect to have a large number of visitors. So we're trying to do what we can to get some messaging out just on traffic safety and pedestrian safety, so that we can ensure everybody has a safe and a good experience here in Malibu this summer. And with that, I'll turn it over to Councilmember Grisanti or to Councilmember Stewart if they have anything else. Thank you.
Want to really appreciate what Steve said about traffic safety. I don't know about the rest of your communities, but our community has seen an increase in the number of people doing absolutely idiotic things in cars. And we're trying to tamp it down, but that is something that causes continuing information. And just for everybody's information, on Pacific Coast Highway, making U-turns from the curb is a really good way to get hit. And we would appreciate you not doing that. And I know the sheriffs would appreciate having less work to do with that as well. Doug, do you have anything?
Yeah, I think the only thing I'd like to add to that is an upcoming event. We're working diligently on getting our sheriff's substation opened up, which is long overdue. Those of you that know Malibu from years gone by, we used to have a courthouse, highway patrol station, and a sheriff's substation. All those are gone, but with the new Santa Monica College facility, we'll be bringing back the sheriff's substation and working diligently on getting the staffing budget put together for that. And hopefully we have that ready July 1st. So not to steal any of Steve or Paul's thunder for the next month's meeting, but that's very important to us. And with that comes more traffic enforcement, by the way. So tell your neighbors and friends, the LiDAR guns will be out.
Thank you so much. Our future meeting dates are the following. The Technical Advisory Committee will meet June 7th at 8:30 a.m. And the Governing Board's next meeting is on June 20th at 8:30 a.m. And since there's no further business, the meeting is adjourned. Thank you so much.